fade to black. This film has been described for blind and visually impaired audiences by descriptive video service WGBH Boston. Funding provided by Gordon and Laura Gund. Described by Christina Faust and Samantha Manahan. Read by Margot Stage. Major funding for DVS is provided by the United States Department of Education. For more information about DVS, call toll-free 1-800-333-1203 or write to our email address dvs@wgbh.org. Remaining opening titles with Anna Paquin, Kerry Walker, and Genevieve Lemon. Casting: Diane Rowan, New Zealand; Susie Figgis, United Kingdom; Victoria Thomas, USA. Sound designer: Lee Smith. Music: Michael Nyman. Maori dialogue and advisors: Waihore Shortland and Selwyn Morrow. Editor: Veronica Jennett. Costume designer: Janet Patterson. Production designer: Andrew McAlpine. Director of photography: Stuart Dryberg. Associate producer: Mark Turnbull. Executive producer for CIBY 2000, Alain Depardieu. Producer: Jan Chapman. Written and directed by Jane Campion. Credits roll: for Edith, Holly Hunter as Ada, Harvey Keitel as Baines, Sam Neill as Stuart, Anna Paquin as Flora, Kerry Walker as Aunt Morag, Genevieve Lemon as Nessie, Tungai Baker as Hira, Ian Mune as Reverend, Peter Dennett as Head Seaman, Te Whatanui Skipwith as Chief Nihei, Pete Smith as Hone, Bruce Allpress as Blind Piano Tuner, Cliff Curtis as Mana, Carla Rupoha as Henny, Mission Girl, Hahine Tunui as Mare, Mission Girl, Hori Ahipene as Mutu, Gordon Hatfield as Tay Corey, Mare Boynton as Chief Nihei's daughter, Kirsten Batley as Marama, Tanya Burney as Mahina, Annie Edwards as Tay Tifa, Harina Ha'are as Roimata, Christina Harimate as Pariaro, Steve Kanuta as Amohia, PJ Kararia as Toa, Sunny Karikari as Tame, Alain Makiha as Kahutia, Greg Mayer as Tipi, Neil Mika Gutzel as Tahu, Guy Mwana as Kaharu, Joseph Otimi as Rehia, Glynis Paraha as Marangi, Ricky Pickering as Rango, Aru Potakaduz as Pitama, Leanne Rangi Henry as Te'au, Hui Ana Rewa as Tahi Kubutu, Tamara Rice as Pito, Para Sharples as Hutu, George Smallman as Tu'u, Korea Matoa as Te Kukuni, Poamo Tuali'i as Kahu, Susan Tuali'i as Pare, Kahumanu Wahake as Waimira, Lawrence Farrow as Kamira. Seaman: Eddie Campbell, Roger Goodburn, Stephen Hall, Greg Johnson, and Wayne McGorum. John Brazier as wedding photographer. Stephen Paps as Bluebeard. Bluebeard's wives: Nicola Beignet, Ruby Codner, Karen Colston, Verity George, and Julie Steele. Taunting Men: Tim Brady and John Sperry. Angels: Isabel Dryberg, Harina Har, Claire Laurie, Rose McIver, Amber Main, and Rachel Main. Cloud Carrier Boys: Sean Abraham, Thomas Dryberg, Simon Knight-Jones, Julian Lee, and Daniel Lunn. Barbara Grover as school hall piano player. Arthur Ranford as school hall violin player. Nicola Beignet as Sunday school teacher. Young Wives' Husbands: Rod Ellis, Terrence Garbolino, and William Matthew. Nancy Flyger as maid. George Boyle as Flora's grandfather. Waka Crewman: Jason Aranui, Thomas Crow, Shane Howell, Sam Ingley, Lance Kahukiwa, Graham Kariyama Barrett, Wayne Kingi, Lucas Puhi Thompson, Peter Rangitaawa, Joseph Samuel, Thomas Sirunk, Philip Taiaho Heke, George Te Huia, and Alfred Tiake Hotu. Ada's underwater stunt doubles: Georgina Gilbert and Sue Easton. Flynn as Baines's dog Flynn. Solo piano: Holly Hunter, with special thanks to Pierre Ricien. Director: Jane Campion. Writer: Jane Campion. Producer: Jan Chapman. Executive producer: Alain Depardieu. Associate producer: Mark Turnbull. Director of Photography, Stuart Dryberg. Production Designer, Andrew McAlpine. Costume Designer, Janet Patterson. Music, Michael Nyman. Editor, Veronica Jennett. Casting Directors, New Zealand, Diana Rowan. United Kingdom, Susie Figgis. United States, Victoria Thomas. Australia, Alison Barrett. Maori Dialogue and Advisors, Waihoroi Shortland and Selwyn Morrow. Sound Designer, Lee Smith. Production Manager, Chloe Smith. First Assistant Director, Mark Turnbull. Production Accountant, Keith McKenzie. Hair and Makeup Supervisor, Noriko Watanabe. Sound Recordist, Tony Johnson. Supervising Art Director, Gregory Keene. Camera Operator, Alan Dollinger. Continuity, Lynn Marie Danzy. Wardrobe Coordinator, Barbara Dara. Script Editor, Billy McKinnon. Location Manager, Sally Sherritt. Second Unit Director and Media Art Director, Colin Engelert. Post-Production Supervisor, Stephen O'Rourke. Second Assistant Director, Victoria Hardy. Second Assistant Director, Charles Haskell. Third Assistant Director, Therese Mangos. Maori Performance and Language Advisor, Temuara Morrison. First Assistant Cameraman, Cameron McLean. Second Assistant Cameraman, Rob Marsh. Third Assistant Cameraman, Philip Skelton. Underwater Photography, Rob Hunter. Underwater Camera Assistant, David Dunkley. Underwater Special Effects and Rigging Coordinator, Tad Pride. Underwater Special Effects Assistant, Arthur Spink Jr. and Kent McLenda. Second Unit Cameraman and Media Art Cameraman, Rewa Har. Second Unit First Assistant Director, Chris Short. Second Unit Camera Assistant and Assistant Clapper Loader, Josie Harbut. Location Steadicam Operator, Ian Jones. Studio Steadicam Operator, John Mahaffey. Boom Operator, Alexander Patton. Gaffer, Don Jousey. Best Persons, Melinda Crayford and Siggy Spath, Jr. Lighting Electrician, Mark Archibald. Generator Operator, Ed Sims. Second Unit Gaffer, Kevin Riley. Key Grip, Jeff Jameson. Grip, Bruce Williamson, Will. Assistant Grip, Aaron O'Leary. Assistant Grip and Studio Lighting Assistant, Sean O'Neill. Second Unit Grip, Annie Freer. Helicopter Pilot, Tony Monk. Production Coordinator, Moira Grant. Production Assistant, Karen Gleave. Production Secretary, Susie Gibbs. Researchers, Colin Englert and Peter Long. Director's Assistant, Christina Andreef. Director's Post-Production Assistants, Ann Berryman and Lynn Marie Danzy. Producer's Assistant, Leanne Higgins. Stills Photographers, Grant Matthews and Polly Walker. Art Department Coordinator, Kirsten Schuler. Assistant Art Director, Jackie Gilmore. Set Decorator, Merrill Cronin. Set Dressers, Graham Aston, Fred Palmer, and Manu Sinclair. Props Buyer, Mark Grenfell. Art Department Sydney Contact, Ken Muggleston. Props Standbys, Lindsay Meager and Paripi Teratoa. Casual Draftsman, Neil Henson. Art Department Runner, Reese Fox. Wrangler, Ian Newton, Horace. Piano Tuner, David Jenkin. Jeweler, Joaquin Zapeda. Props Makers, Mark Danielle and John Williams. Rope Maker, Charles Nemo. Greensperson, Amanda Holloy. Dog Handler for Flynn, Mark Vetty. Construction Manager, John Miles. Carpenters, Graham Aston, Peter Brown, Neil Cromie, Matthew Gordon, Mike Maxwell, Russell Monroe, Ian Newton Horace, Nick Novis, Bob Schmidt, Willie Schmidt, George Stumpf, Michael Sudholter, Trevor Tutt, Alan Wilson, and Paul Worley. Construction Laborer, Ian Chisnell. Head Scenic Artist, Tim Merton. Scenic Artists, Barry Ellery and Trevor Lithgow. Painters, Scott Russell and Inya Taylor. Piano Replica, Alan Weir, Nimblejack Limited, UK. Special Effects Coordinators, Ken Dury and Wayne Rugg. Special Effects Assistants, Jason Dury and Jason Doherty. Fight Stunt Coordinator and Safety Officer, Robert Bruce. Dive Coordinator, Tony Thew. Divers, Mark Asaya, Leonard Fisher, and Richard Moore. Boat Services Coordinator, Ken Dury. Wardrobe Standby, Chris Elliott and Jane Holland. Wardrobe Assistants, Sue Gandy, Marion Hera, and Liz McGregor. Costume Cutters, Wendy Chuck, Maria Inglis, Perrin McLeod, and Marion Olson. Machinists, Christine Bainbridge and Rosemary Gow. Hand Stitcher, Jandra Watson. Milliner, Rosie Boylan. Cobbler, Jody Morrison. Makeup for Holly Hunter, Catherine James. Hair for Holly Hunter, Noriko Watanabe. Hair and Makeup, Francia Sheets. Prosthetics and Makeup, Marjorie Hamlin. Hair Consultant, Stephen Price. Daily Hair Assistants, Ethne Curran, Deidre Haworth, and Michelle Page. Prosthetics Supervisor, Bob McCarran. Daily Prosthetic Assistants, Stuart Conran and Clifford Hughes. First Assistant Editor, Heidi Kennessy. Second Assistant Editor, Nicholas Smith. Second Assistant Editor, Claire Corbett. Trainee Assistant Editor, Tamsin O'Rourke. FX Editor, Peter Townend. Supervising ADR Editor, Annabelle Sheehan. Dialogue Editors, Gary O'Grady and Janine Scialvo. Assistant Sound Editors, Kimberly Walls and Libby Villa. Foley Artists, Steve Burgess and Jerry Long. ADR Re-Recordists, Robert Deshane, CAS, David Job, Simon Hewitt, and Richard Jenkins. Sound Mixer, Gethin Cray. FX Mixer, Martin Oswin. Laboratories, AtLab New Zealand and AtLab Australia. Lab Liaison Australia, Denise Wolfson. Lab Liaison New Zealand, Bruce MacArthur and David Donaldson. NEG Matching, Karen Saltis. Grading, Arthur Cambridge. Aeroflex Cameras and Lenses, Film Facilities Limited. Film Stock, filmed in Eastman Color. Mixed at AtLab Australia. Post-production facilities, Spectrum Films. Title design, Peter Long. Opticals, Roger Cowland. Graphics, Optical and Graphic. Unit Manager, John Wilson. Unit Assistant and Third Assistant Director Studio, Simon Miller. Unit Assistant, Peter Ward. Legal Representation, Peter Thompson, Joanne Court, Tress Cox, and Maddox. Insurance, Hammond Jewell Party Limited, Film Insurance Underwriting Agencies. Completion Guarantor, Rob Fisher, First Australian Completion Bond Company Party Limited. Assistant Accountants, Anna McMurtry and Helen de Groot. Post-production accountants, Stephen O'Rourke and Cynthia Kelly. Assistant to Casting Director, New Zealand, Robin Camel. Unit publicist, Rachel Stace. Production notes, Miro Bilbro. Ada's stand-in, Zoe Hartley. Baines's stand-in, Eddie Campbell. Stewart's stand-in, Nick Speechman. Flora's stand-in, Shelley Simpson. Additional stand-ins, Nina Powirza and Tanya Burrows. Choreographer, Marianne Schultz. Flora's singing and piano instructor, Judy Jones. Ada's piano instructor, Margie Balter. Ada's sign language instructor, Darlene Allen. Flora's sign language instructor, Holly Hunter. Flora's tutor and chaperone, Patricia Quirk. Casual chaperone, Amanda Rees. The aunt's dialect coach, Gina Pioro. Baines's dialect coach, John Sperry. Flora's dialect coach, Eddie Campbell. Ada's dialect coach, Carla Meyer. Harvey Keitel's personal assistant, Kenneth McGregor. Harvey Keitel's personal trainer, Stephen Wernick. Jan Chapman's personal assistant, Sue Smith. Interpreter, Natalie Salee. Production runners, Alan Leo and Kushla Foley. Casual production runner, Justin Huege de Sevilla. Matakana Location Liaison, Garth Hodgetts. Location Security, Mark Askew. Location Unit Nurse, Wendy McCareth. Casual Unit Nurse, Barbara Sims. Underwater Shoot Doctor, Andrew Veal. Catering Company, Flying Trestles. Caterer, Colin Sutherland. Catering Assistants, Sue Ellen Boag, Ken Robertson, and Mark Askew. Music recorded at Arco Studios, Munich. Recording Engineer, Michael J. Dutton. Assistant Engineer, Jamie Luker. Technical Engineer, Malcolm Luker. Music Contractor, Q Music Limited, Beverly Hills, California. Music performed by members of the Munich Philharmonic Orchestra. Conducted by Michael Nyman. Saxophones, John Harl, David Roach, and Andrew Finden. Original music published through its licensees for Michael Nyman on behalf of Michael Nyman Limited by Chester Music Limited, Kelly Music Limited. Copyright 1992. All rights reserved for rest of the world. With thanks to Richard Campion for his fine advice and support, Georgina Curdy for trying to teach us Maori, the Turnbull Library, David Hazlitt for his Baines's Hut Touch, Anna Campion for her guidance, Laura Jones for her early encouragement, Colin Englert for his loving support, Vicki Harper for her very special troubleshooting, all auditioning actors and actors who worked with us but whose scenes were lost, CIBY 2000 for their faith in us at the end of the world, Carrie Brockhow, Claudia Lewis, John O'Shea, Kim Williams, and Sue Murray for their generous advice, Dennis Hennig for early advice about piano, the Department of Conservation, Te Papa Atafi, the Aotearoa Institute for their waka, Kit Rawlings for New Zealand Bird Effects, Auckland Regional Council, the New Zealand landscape and the great enduring spirit of our cast and crew, and Kia Ora. Dolby Stereo in selected theaters. Script developed with the assistance of the Australian Film Commission. This film was developed with the assistance of New South Wales Film and Television Office. The persons and events of this cinematograph film are fictitious. Any similarity to actual persons or events is unintentional. This cinematograph film is protected under the laws of Australia and internationally. Unauthorized duplication, distribution, diffusion, or exhibition may result in civil liability and/or prosecution. There is a silence where hath been no sound. There is a silence where no sound may be. In the cold grave, under the deep, deep sea. Thomas Hood, 1799 to 1845. Copyright Jan Chapman Productions Party Limited, ACN 003-938-592, and CIBY 2000. All rights reserved, 1992. A logo, live home video.